evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In, the podcast where we sit down with New England-based actors to discuss the craft of acting, projects they've done, things they've learned along the way, tales from the set, and tips on how to get your foot in the door. As always, our show is sponsored by the Parody News Network. Every week, PNN takes aim at a popular movie or TV show and parodies the shit out of it. If you're looking for humor and entertainment, not to mention a break from mainstream news programs, subscribe to the Parody News Network and enjoy watching the news again. Go to youtube.com/Parody News Network to like and comment your little heart out. PNN, your favorite movies and TV shows, satirized for your protection. And so, without further ado, please welcome the lovely and talented Isabelle Bushkov. What's interesting about you is that I started doing the research for this, and I discovered that you are actually a lot younger than I thought you were.
Yeah, I've heard this before as well.
Okay.
Although, weirdly enough, I would get that when I was in middle school and I would join a swim team. And they're like, oh, you're in like the end of high school, right? I'm like, no, I'm in 6th grade. And I remember feeling so annoyed by this because I would always think, oh, this is such a tangent already. But I was so annoyed by it because I thought, wow, I'm in 6th grade and I already look old. What am I going to look like when I'm 25?
Amazing.
Thank
You're going to
you.
look amazing.
Thankfully, it didn't end up too badly.
Well, it's especially interesting to me because a lot of the actors that I work with, the actresses that I work with, are early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, and you don't carry yourself in any way the way they do.
Thank you very much.
I'm not beating up on them in any way, but like, I mean, they have their own language that I still don't understand. I'm learning it slowly but surely.
I'm going to be honest, I don't understand half of it either.
Okay.
And I am their age.
Good,
so
good,
it's
good.
just a symptom of not being chronically online. So
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But you, and I hesitate to use the overused term old soul, but you have that feel. You have that, and maybe it's just because when I'm with you, we're usually working, and I feel like you probably have a much more serious approach to acting than sort of the other facets of life. I don't know if that's accurate.
well, I mean, I really like Shakespeare. I grew up watching PBS and science documentaries. I mean,
Nerd.
There we go. I know. I mean, this is the field I've chosen, really. But yeah, no, I never really thought of myself as an old soul, really. But I think I do carry myself like that. It's just, that's not really a defense mechanism at all. It's just always kind of how I've been. And I'm kind of happy with that in a way. I feel like people take me a little bit more seriously in that way, and that's never a bad thing. But yeah, I always kind of like to be put together and kind of show the best that I can be in that way, in those small ways. It does have some drawbacks, though, because sometimes, even with my friends and roommates half the time, sometimes I don't even know what they're talking about, and they'll just be talking about something they either saw online or just new slang or something like that. And I'm like, Jesus, I must be way older at heart than I think I am. But for the most part, I get by. It's fine.
All right. Fair enough. So you're originally from San Francisco.
Yes, I am.
There's a famous quote attributed to Mark Twain. The coldest winter I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco.
Yeah, I love that quote. It's very true, actually.
So, born and raised San Francisco. Mom and dad, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother. He is in San Diego right now. He's doing his undergraduate degree. Both of my parents are from different places, though. They both came to San Francisco independently, and that's where they met, and they've stayed ever since.
Your brother, is he in the performing arts at all?
No. Well, actually, no, that's not true. He is not officially in the performing arts, but he is a DJ for, well, at least right now for his fraternities, parties, and whatnot. But he loves to work on different beats just on his own. He'll often show me his work, and I use Premiere Pro sometimes for editing project, but that I have no idea. There are so many different levels and so many different tracks that he has to keep track of. So in a way, he is kind of involved in the arts.
Okay.
But just in a different field.
Yeah. And what about your parents?
My parents, both of my parents work in tech or have worked in tech. Though my mom is more on the project management side. She keeps things running, which is lovely. And my dad is more of the tech professional, IT, that kind of thing. Make sure everything actually runs.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, thank God for those people.
I know, it's quite great. He just shows up, what's the problem? Okay, I'll fix it.
I'll fix it. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah, really, a lot of the time, it's that.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. What were your earliest experiences as far as performing? Like, where did it start for you?
Yeah, I think for me, in middle school, we had an after-school program, and you could sign up for all sorts of different things. And I was really grateful that even when I was that young in middle school, they had an after-school theater program. They would do condensed Shakespeare plays. They would do specific plays that were written for kids, things they made up, stuff like that. And that was my first kind of entry into that world. At that time, I mean, when you're young, maybe some people do this. I did not. You don't really think about it in terms of skill and being serious or whatnot. You just have a chance to kind of do what you see all the celebrities doing on TV. You get to pretend and you get to have fun. And that was my first kind of intro into it, and I just wanted to keep going from there.
And that actually leads into the sort of follow-up question. Were there any actors or actresses when you were young that inspired you, that you wanted to be like, that sort of pushed you in that direction? Or was it just the thrill of being on stage and performing?
I really think at that time it was just the thrill of being on stage and performing. I watched, I think at that time, I was pretty young, so I was watching a lot of animated movies. So I learned how to do voices pretty well at that time. I just kind of had fun making up a scenario and just going with it. And I think as I got older, then I started to really kind of look into the work that some of these people were doing and realizing, oh, there's a lot more to it. That really it is, I think a lot of it is kind of being yourself, bringing different facets of yourself to a role while obviously not going too far in, because that can be sometimes bad for your mental health. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at that time I was just happy to be performing. It was just really fun. Yeah,
I totally understand. My big break came in second grade.
Oh, yeah?
I was cast in Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, perfect.
As a tree.
Oh, that's great.
And and there are photos of me dressed entirely in brown with paper leaves taped all over me.
Amazing.
And Donnie Richards was cast as Christopher Robin.
Oh, okay.
And the phone rang one day, and it was Donnie Richards' mother, who said he had bronchitis.
The best news that could possibly have happened for you.
Would I be interested in playing Christopher Robin? Would I be interested in going from a tree to the lead? And I never looked back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was so thank you, Donnie Richards, for having bronchitis.
We hope you got better.
Yeah, and if you really did, maybe you just didn't want to do it.
That's fair enough.
But, it was my gain. So, so that was my earliest memory of acting. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, good times in second grade.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. So did you then continue in high school?
Yeah, no, I continued in high school. I obviously didn't have a resume or anything like that. You don't really need one when you go into high school. But yeah, I auditioned for the play every single year. I would audition for the play in the fall, and then I would try out for the swim team in the spring.
Okay.
Not really that I needed a semester off, but more just I didn't want to do musicals, and usually there was a musical in the spring. So I stuck to the plays in the fall.
Did you have a favorite performance from high school?
Yeah, I do. We did, so at my high school, they did Shakespeare every other year.
Okay.
And when I was a junior in high school, that was my first year where I was kind of allowed to get a bigger part. They, in a way, the freshmen and sophomores, I don't know if every high school does this, but I'm willing to bet that most of them do. They kind of keep the freshmen and sophomores to the background parts, and you still have a blast. Like, it's still a great time. But you hit junior year, and now you're considered like an actual member of the drama society or whatever. We didn't have a society. But it was 12th night in my junior year, and I got the part of Olivia. It was a really lovely time. And they split the role between two people, and they had alternate nights. But it was a blast.
Shakespeare is a real through line for you as far as acting.
Yeah, yeah.
I never had the opportunity to do any Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But there was I was subjected to quite possibly the worst piece of garbage theater I've ever seen in my life. I was your age, and some pretentious drama student had written a play called Hamlet's Nightmares.
Ooh, okay.
And it was 4 hours, and it was just, so Hamlet came out, he sat down on the edge of the stage near the proscenium and then just fell asleep, and that actor just slept for 4 hours, and I envied him so much, because what was on stage was so nonsensical, and so he was so convinced that he was so much better than the bard with what he had written.
Yeah.
And then stage goes black, Shakespeare or Hamlet wakes up, and scene and end, and
Wow.
it was so bad.
Oh,
And
no.
I won't say which college put it on, Salem State, but it was really and I mean, I'm still scarred by it. It's still with me. So maybe that put me off of Shakespeare. It's possible.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like, I mean, that happens all the time. And I think, you know, if someone wants to reinvent Shakespeare for our modern day, go for it. You know, the text is incredibly old. It's public domain. You can do whatever you want with it, and you can invent off of that. I think that's awesome. But yeah, sometimes it does happen where you get just a really bad version of a Shakespeare play, and you think, why are we still doing this? I will say, I mean, I don't love all of Shakespeare's plays. I also haven't read all of Shakespeare's plays. So
What?
I know I have
Ladies
not
and
read.
gentlemen, we have breaking
No.
news.
I hate to admit it, I haven't read Henry VII yet. It just hasn't happened yet. But one day it will, and it'll be great. But I don't know. I think it's really lovely to be able to go back and take a look at this text that was written so long ago and be able to kind of make it your own.
Okay, so high school is over,
Yes.
and then a brand new day dawns, and you find yourself at Northeastern.
Oh, I do.
How did that come about?
I looked up the theater program. It was ranked maybe 7th in the country at the time, and I thought, oh, for BA, that's actually not bad. That's pretty good. So yeah, I ended up getting in. That was one of the best schools I got into, and my mother got very excited. She's like, oh my God, the first good school on the East Coast that you got into, you're going. And I said, all right. And they sent me to London for my first semester, actually, which was a real blessing. I'd never been over to Europe. So,
Wow.
you know, some good things came of it.
So at Northeastern, as part of my research, you were trained in Stella Adler and Stanislavski.
Well, actually, the Stella Adler I got because I did a summer program in New York at the Stella Adler Studio of Acting. So I picked up the modern realism technique over there. And a lot of what we did at Northeastern was more Stanislavski related. So you're thinking actions, tactics, objectives, stuff like that. Kind of really ground you in the specifics of the text so you don't kind of lose your way.
And do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the techniques are very similar, actually. There are kind of key differences, and honestly, I don't know all of them, because when I go in to approach a role, I don't always start with technique. That is something I'd like to look into, though, and I think that's something I'll look into in graduate school later on. But I really liked the modern realism technique I learned in New York. What was great was they wanted you to be as tapped in as possible, as naturalistic as possible. They wanted to watch you be, not watch you act. In addition to that, they never diminished the importance of the imagination. It's like, we want you to be a real person on stage, but let's face it, you're acting. The situation is not happening. And Stella Adler, when she was alive, when her early years, she was part of this thing called the group theater. And a lot of the techniques that we see nowadays, in a way, kind of originated because of that. So they would tell us at the studio, like, oh, she was always getting into arguments with Lee Strasberg because Strasberg was very method, and things have to be happening to you, and they have to be real, and you have to draw from your life. And she's like, no, I mean, you use it as some background, like advice for your piece, but you have a whole imagination. Use it. You're an actor.
So let's talk about a few of these things. I'm just going to sort of throw them one at a time, and if you want to talk about them a little bit, start with the Front Porch Arts Collective.
Yeah, so I'm the development and event coordinator for Front Porch Arts Collective. That's what I do in kind of my arts admin section of life. So yeah, in Boston, I'm a little bit of an actor, but I'm also a development coordinator. Front Porch Arts Collective is Boston's premier Black theater company. It is probably, I think at this point, one of the three in the United States, one of three. A lot of these faced a lot of hardships during COVID and even before, but the Porch is still going strong. It's a absolute wonderful place to work. These shows that they put on are very moving, very funny, and very full of joy and hope.
Dream role players?
Yes, so I was in a production of Richard III last summer with Dream Role Players. They are a organization that they do a lot of Shakespeare in the Park, mainly in Somerville and in Cambridge.
As do you.
As I did, yes. I mean, it was really lovely. I thought, wow, I can't do Commonwealth Shakes, but I sure can do this. This is great. It was a really fun time. I was playing Lord Catesby. In this one, they changed it to Catsby because the accomplice, well, not my accomplice, but we were both accomplices to Richard, Ratcliffe, and they wanted to have Ratcliffe and Catsby. So it would be Rat and Cat, and that's what they would refer to us as. Yeah, I stood in the back the whole time. And we, we'd make sure Richard had everything he needed, and we'd kind of try and be funny and disguise ourselves or not. And then we'd behead people off stage. It was the whole thing.
History Alive, Inc. in Salem?
Oh, yes, History Alive. That was my first job out of undergrad. I worked as a reenactor up there. So I did the whole thing. I wore the outfit, the kit. I wore all of this. And basically, if you're not familiar with History Alive, they are a historical reenactment of the pre-trial examination of Bridget Bishop, who was the first person executed as part of the Salem witchcraft hysteria. There was a lot of other hysteria around the eastern United States and in Europe, but in Salem, she was the first one who was executed. And it was a very interesting situation because I think when I first took the job, I didn't know whether, I mean, this sounds bad to say, but I was confused about whether this would be looked down upon because we were reenacting something that there was so much tragedy surrounding it. What was interesting and what we found was that the audience does not care about that at all. First of all, they're tourists. They're there from out of town. They're here to learn, but also they're there to wear witch hats and shop. It's what it is. But what was interesting about this is taking the text from the pre-trial examination, kind of like in modern days, kind of like a hearing in a way. They brought all the evidence out and they brought the witnesses, and you would be able to hear what evidence was actually presented on the day. And then you would open it up to the audience and they would be able to ask questions. And as we went along, you obviously learn more about the history on the job. You don't come in a full Salem expert, or you do. It really depends. But the more you learn, the better you're able to actually answer those questions. So it's a great experience, I think, for an audience to not necessarily see what happened, but just to hear the kind of crazy evidence that they were bringing in. Their whole statute of limitations did not exist. People were bringing in grievances they had from 12 years ago. And it was a really wonderful kind of experience to be a part of. I met some wonderful people. And I met a lot of people like me who were kind of recently-ish out of college, looking for work and taking what we can find and having a very interesting and cool experience about it.
I like to think that there was the original me, and then there was the me that existed after I saw the Shark Film Appreciation and Production Society. So it fundamentally changed me. I like to think that there was my life before I experienced that and my life after. And I think my life after is much richer for it.
That's a great thing to hear. Thank you.
That was your junior year?
Yes, I did that in my junior year. I was...
Please tell us all about it.
Yeah. To explain the short... So to explain this, this was an idea I had. I thought it was funny. And I had a group of really wonderful actors and filmmakers around me that thought it was funny too. And we made it. And it was a really wonderful time. I'm very proud of the ensemble we put together. And I think I saw the lead guy I was working with him through NUTV, and I thought this man would be perfect. And when he eventually accepted an award for this job within NUTV, he said, I based this character on someone I know very well, myself. And I said, perfect, I cast him very well. So I wanted to create a short film about a very prestigious film club that only reviewed bad shark movies. And I wanted them to be as pretentious as possible on as low of a budget as possible. And I think it ended up being pretty great. We used a lot of different locations within Northeastern. Didn't take too long to put together. And I'm so glad no one has given me a copyright strike for the music I used at the end.
It's probably covered under parody laws, so you're probably okay with that. My favorite part was that you wouldn't discuss Jaws because it's too mainstream.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I thought, yeah, everyone's going to talk about Jaws. No, they cannot talk about Jaws. Because it was a good movie.
Unlike Meg 2, Sharknado, all of those other things. Yes. Yeah.
The more sequels, the better.
Right.
That's kind of, yeah.
Yeah. And you wrote, directed, and edited that.
Yes.
So you were like the one-man band and
the control freak. Yes.
if you like. So what was it like wearing all of those hats?
Oh yeah, it was really fun, actually. For me, I always planned to edit the video. And I think that happened a lot in NUTV. If someone would come up with the idea, often they were the one that was going to put it together in the end and make sure it came out. So I always knew that I was going to edit it. Directing it, I knew that I wanted to do that just because I think I had a pretty good idea of what it was. But then you bring the actors in, and then they do things that surprise you. And that was an absolute blast. Because I think when I explained it to people, they said, that's awesome. We're going to roll with it. And can we do this? So it was really nice to be in a position where I could kind of help it come together and everyone could just be their wacky selves.
I highly recommend anyone who is hearing my voice now, take the time to sit down with this piece. And I hope it changes you the way it changed me. Once again, I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In is sponsored by the Parody News Network. Every week, PNN takes aim at a popular movie or TV show and parodies the shit out of it. If you're looking for humor and entertainment, not to mention a break from mainstream news programs, subscribe to the Parody News Network and enjoy watching the news again. Go to youtube.com/Parody News Network to like and comment your little heart out. PNN, your favorite movies and TV shows, satirized for your protection.
I gotta go watch this again.
It was really something. So you graduate Northeastern, summa cum laude.
I did, yeah.
With a degree in theater and a minor in film production.
Oh, yes.
Has that opened doors for you? Has that positioned you well post-college?
I mean, I would say so. I think so. I worried for a while that having a theater major wouldn't position me well for a lot of things. And I don't think that's true. And I think anyone who's going into a theater major now shouldn't be worried about this because you learn so many skills, especially if it's not strictly an acting conservatory. You learn so many skills that you can apply to really any job. Sure, you won't have in-depth computer knowledge, so you probably can't go into the coding field unless you have pre-existing experience, but you will be able to relate to so many different positions. Your communication will be better. You will know how to manage your time, and you will be dependable. And in that way, you will be able to wear a lot of different hats. For me personally, I think if I had gone to an acting conservatory, I might have positioned myself a little bit better within the world of auditioning. An actor's job is to audition. So that might have been a little bit better. But yeah, besides that, I think the theater majors positioned me pretty well.
So the Shark Film Appreciation film changed me. And then I was further changed by Bukowski banter.
Oh.
Tell me all about Bukowski banter, because I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, that was written by someone I ended up working with at the Boston Media Artists Collective when I was there. Jane Doucette, or Duchette. I'm not completely sure. Jane, if you're listening to this, I'm very sorry. You're wonderful.
Sorry, Jane.
Sorry, Jane. But yeah, Jane wrote a particular film. She wanted to set it in a bar in Back Bay. Location was awesome. They closed, well, it was already closed during the day, so we went in there, we shot it during the day. Yeah, it was a lovely experience to be part of. That was a film that was included in, I believe, the inaugural Northeastern Film Festival, which started, I believe, the year I was leaving. So I really didn't know much of what was going on, but the film students did. And I really wish I had more to tell you about it. I kind of just showed up, said my lines, and left. That was kind of one of my first intros into kind of somebody else's film world. Because I was so used to NUTV. Everyone was on set. Everyone wanted to know what was happening, and everyone was in the editing room, and we were all talking about it all the time. And then you show up to someone with someone you don't really know that well, and actors you don't know, and then a film crew of like one or two people who you also don't know. And you say, okay, I'm a professional, and this is my job now, and I'm going to do this job for 4 hours, and then I'm going to go home.
Fair enough. But it seems like that must have been a sort of an easy introduction, because there were basically the two co-leads, you and was that Jane? Did we establish?
No, that was not Jane. Jane was the director. She also did most of the cinematography.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was you and one other actor?
Yeah, it was me and one other actor, and they had another actor come in towards the end. After
Yeah, he had the two lines at the end that buttoned it up, and you got to curse.
I did.
I was racking my brain trying to remember if I had ever heard you curse before I saw you curse in that.
Yeah, I actually curse quite a lot. I don't do it when I'm working. I try not to.
And I mostly see you working, so that's why I guess I haven't seen that. But in my sort of professional career, I've done 4 tours of duty in the Prudential Tower with 4 different companies. So Bukowski's was quite the hangout in those days. And so when I saw it, it was just a flood of wonderful memories.
That's really cool.
And again, if you can hear my voice, you should look that up too, because it's very funny. It's short, but it's very well done, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then you were and I'm going to suppose that this is if we were to talk about the biggest actor that you've ever been near, Paul Bettany. When you were in the collaboration.
Oh, gosh. Did I write that somewhere? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's in my notes. You must have written it somewhere.
Damn, I don't remember writing that. But this is true. I did so I was an extra in a movie called The Collaboration. I don't believe it has come out. I'm not sure if it will. At the time, I believe that it was just starting production. I was cast as a background club goer, and yeah, I don't think I was in this particular shot because I was standing. They placed me next to Paul Bettany, and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not in this shot because they're trying to get him. But it's cool. This is the closest I've ever stood to a celebrity. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner did come to my 4th grade classroom once, but they were pretty far away. They were looking at a school for their daughter at the time, and they just popped their heads in, and then they left. And I thought, oh, they look kind of familiar. I was a 4th grader, and my teacher said, "And who can tell me who that was, class?" So. Everyone was so excited.
Okay, California schools are very, very different from New England schools.
And it was interesting, too, because it wasn't even L.A. San Francisco, for all of you listening, is very far from L.A.
California is a big place.
It's a big place. If you were to map it onto New England, it would probably be like driving, this might be wrong, but like driving from Vermont to South Carolina. It would be a long trip. But yeah, no, we were all really surprised because we don't normally see celebrities up there, and not in our 4th grade classrooms at all. I just kind of figured, well, they look important. And then later on, I'm like, oh, they were.
Yes, they were. Did you have any interaction with Mr. Bettany, or were you just in his orbit?
I was, I haven't done many extra things just because I tend to be busy and things come up and they need the whole day. But they do, when they cast you, they say, please review the rules, the extra rules for Boston casting. And one of the things that they say, don't bring your phone to the set, listen to directions. Don't talk to the principal cast unless they talk to you. And in a way, I kind of understood that because, I mean, I'm coming into their space in a way. There's a ton of people there. They need to do a very specific job around all these people. And it's probably kind of stressful if people are coming up to them and say, oh, I've seen you in that. Or if they make a rude comment to you or something like that. So they basically said, hey, back off. Like, you don't need to not make eye contact with them. But yeah, I wasn't going up and chatting with them because, you know, they're at work. I respect that.
Sure. But he was there.
He was there. He was right there.
He was right
like,
there.
Oh,
so, wow. Paul Bettany. I really hope that comes out at some point. I read the synopsis on Wikipedia. And it's artist. Oh yes, Basquiat,
and Andy Warhol.
And Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
And they're feuding over something. I'm butchering the explanation of this thing.
I've got to be honest. I don't really know anything about the plot. All I know is that they all ended up in a club together at one point.
Okay, and you were there.
I was a club goer. It was really fun. I took a long Uber ride out to, it was like Reading or something else. I met a lot of cool people there. People I ended up auditioning for History Alive with later on. They're like, oh, we were there. I'm like, oh, I didn't see you. Because there was a crowd. But I saw my classmates at Northeastern there. Like, we all kind of ended up in that place. It was really quite cool.
Nice. All right, so I think we have sufficiently set the table as far as who you are and what you've done. So let's talk about acting.
Okay,
Let's talk about performing. What are your general thoughts about the Boston acting scene?
Yeah, the Boston acting scene, I think it keeps getting better and better and more inclusive as we go along. I will say, before the advent of, or the invention of Boston Actor Auditions, which is a great Instagram page, and the person who runs that compiles all sorts of auditions, posts them, we turn our notifications on so we actually see them coming in. Before that, it was kind of difficult to find auditions. I didn't know that much about the companies. I didn't know when they were holding auditions. And it was kind of difficult to get a foot in the door, which is why I still kind of haven't gotten a foot in the door. I think if I was staying here longer, and you put in the hours, you put in the effort and the networking, I think that's when doors start to open. But as you go around Boston, you do start to see the same people in the shows most of the time. And talking to the people kind of around my age group, the early 20s to kind of early 30s, we do find that it is kind of difficult to find work sometimes. And especially if a lot of the work that we do find is very far out of Boston, because it's very expensive to rent a venue in Boston. And if you don't have a car, you do a very long commute or you don't audition at all. And also, a lot of that work is for very little pay. And so what I've noticed is that there tends to be a big split between fringe work and the work of like established equity theater houses. So this side, that's fringe, community theater, small-scale productions, a little bit easier to get into. You will work, you will not be paid, because they can't pay you. But on the other side, these equity companies, they either want to work with people they know, people who fit the role exactly, or people they bring in from New York, which all of us hear that and we think, why? There are so many of us. Why do you keep doing this? But yeah, that's my take on the Boston theater. Well, I mean, the other thing I would say is if you're coming into the Boston theater scene, the nice thing about it is possible to wrap your head around. It is not giant like New York. There are lots of theater companies, but you can get a handle on it. It takes a little bit of time, but you can know what's going on everywhere. So that's my general take on the Boston theater scene.
Fair enough. I was speaking with an actor recently who said that for every 20 jobs in Boston, there are 600 in New York.
Yeah.
Well, duh. Of course, it's New York. But I feel, this is just my experience, I feel that there is plenty of work in the Boston acting scene. It's just harder to find. You have to dig deeper, and you have to make connections.
Yeah.
And those people will remember you, and they'll start casting you, and you'll see that there is a bigger scene than you thought there was.
Yes.
Whereas New York, they just lay it at your feet.
Right.
And
exactly.
there's a very, very specific way of getting into it and staying in it. Whereas Boston just requires more work. But I agree. Another actor I spoke to said that in recent years, it's been harder to find work. He has a management company, and they're sending him to Canada to do commercials because there's just nothing around here. So I guess it probably also depends on what you're doing specifically. But my personal take on it is that it's such a wonderful community of people. You can be a big fish in a small pond, and it's less of a Shark Tank than New York or LA. I do agree. Feel like it is. There's ebbs and flows, but I think it's very vibrant, and I think there's a lot of talent. So so that's, for what it's worth, that's my take on the Boston acting scene.
I think that's a wonderful take. And I know I just kind of spouted a bunch of negative comments about this, but I do
well, you're leaving.
Right.
What do you care?
Oh, yeah, I mean, whatever, right? But I do think you're absolutely right. It is possible to be a big fish in a small pond here. Very true. And the longer you stay here, the more opportunities open up to you. Once you kind of get your foot in the door with Central Square Theater or Lyric Stage or something, then things start to open up for you. Until you do that, or until you catch someone's attention, you'll probably be working jobs for not a lot of pay, but maybe a lot of great experience. But then once you have that, yes. That being said, you can always interact with the community, and it is a very wonderful community. It is small enough for you to actually probably be able to know everybody after a certain amount of time. But these are really lovely people who are very passionate and who want to bring the best theater to Boston. And in terms of there not being as many jobs, I mean, that's true. I mean, you see it all over the country, right? So many theaters are picking shows with a lot of them with just 2 actors. That narrows the casting pool tremendously. And often you'll see a post saying, oh, we're doing this show. There are 2 actors. They've both been cast. Anyway, go to the next one. You're like, well, okay. Well, then why even say it? You're not... So, yeah, I mean, that's, I think, a problem everywhere.
Yeah, agreed. What's the most fun production you've ever been part of?
Oh, most fun production. Oh, it's probably got to be Problem Play. I got to say, I mean, because, I mean, this is going to sound so strange, but I was really tired. I was stressed out. It was not that that's great. Fun. It was so many lines, but in a great way. It was genuinely so much fun to go into rehearsal every evening and play with those actresses. That was absolutely wonderful. We had so much fun together. Our check-ins were like 30 minutes long, which was a terrible, I mean, not terrible. It was a great time for us to check in with each other, but it ate up so much rehearsal time. They had to say, okay, keep your stories about yourself to a minimum of 2 minutes. We gotta get through this. But it was a large cast for current shows, I think. It was just a lovely time.
I am going to ask that question of everybody who appears on this podcast, and I'm just going to see if anyone ever says PNN.
Oh gosh, I had that thought exactly after I answered it. Like, I wonder if he wants me to...
That's my cheap plug right there.
I do have a lot of fun on PNN compared to some of the other. I mean, I work at a desk all day. I mean, it's just what it is. So getting to come here and just read some funny lines, it is really fun. I will say.
Thank you. I agree. Mm-hmm. While we're here, do you want to give any shout outs to any particular talents that you've worked with in front of the camera, behind the camera? Anyone that you just want to say, wow, they were extraordinary, and I want to give them props?
I will give a big shout out to my friend. Her name is Mitra Sharif. She's an actor in Boston as well. She's also my workout buddy. I've never in my life met a more positive person than her. She has the ability to absolutely light up any room that she's in. She also has the ability to walk in and immediately make everyone laugh, because she'll breeze through, make everyone feel great, and then she'll leave, and everyone will think, what just happened? But she's tremendously funny. I think she's making some great moves in the theater scene. She was recently in Central Square Theater's production of Space. She worked with the Hanover Rep in The Crucible. And she's just a joy to be around. I know maybe it's a bit of a cop-out to say my friend, but I do think she's going places in the Boston theater sphere, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm always happy to see her at the gym or on stage or just hanging out.
There you go.
So big shout-out to you, Mitra.
That's a great shout-out. What are you most proud of in your acting career?
I'm proud that I've stuck with it, I guess. I'll say that. I think it's very easy to get discouraged. because so many other things in my life, if something doesn't work or if it needs to be fixed, I'll go and fix it. I'll change course, and I'll go with the thing that makes the most sense. For acting, it's a difficult career, and I kind of feel like I haven't fully started it even yet, because so much of it is auditioning, and I haven't gotten to the point where I'm auditioning all the time yet, and I will get there. But at this point, it hasn't always, it's very fun, but often it's very fun when you're working, and it's not always fun when you're preparing to work. So that can get kind of irritating sometimes and pretty discouraging. So I'm glad that I've somehow managed to stick with it, even if I'm doing other jobs. I'd say that's what I'm proudest of.
What's the most memorable compliment you've ever received?
I will say this because I've actually received it multiple times, which, not to toot my own horn, people sometimes say, oh, I love your voice. You sound like you do audiobooks. And that, it makes me so happy. Like, I think that's the best compliment I could get, because I've always been happy with my voice. I don't have a ton of regionalism in it. And I do hope to do audiobooks. As soon as I figure out how to do that, I'm going to figure that out.
What's your most embarrassing moment of any production that you've been part of?
I'm not often embarrassed in productions, I am proud to say.
Wow.
Gosh, if I have, I've probably blacked it out at this point. Like, that didn't happen.
I don't blame you. And
it never happened. I've probably fallen on stage at some point. I'm just making things up at this point.
It's fine if you don't have one.
My most embarrassing moments happen off stage. On stage is when things come together and I know my lines and I know where I'm supposed to be. I'll tell you an embarrassing moment. When I was in 5th grade,
We're going that far back to find your embarrassing moment?
I mean, I've worked very hard to not be embarrassed since then.
Okay.
My most embarrassing moment since then, I was really bored at a family Thanksgiving. I was in 5th grade. I went to hang out with my brother, and he was just playing DS. He didn't care. And I had watched the Thanksgiving Day Parade earlier that day, and I said, you know what? All those women who can do those high kicks with the Radio City Rockettes, I've always been very flexible. I should be able to do that. I could. Problem was, I tried to do this just for fun with socks on a hardwood floor. I catapulted myself into the air and fell down and broke my wrist.
Okay, all right.
Thankfully, my brother was the only one who had audience for that, but he wasn't really paying attention. I was just like, I think something bad happened. He's like, what?
I think something bad happened. And it was a broken
hurts.
wrist. Okay.
That's the embarrassing part, was explaining that to my parents later. I'm just like, I know this is going to be expensive. But
Do you struggle with watching yourself on screen?
Sometimes. I will say I took a acting for the camera class in my sophomore year of college. And that was very embarrassing. Not necessarily because of the acting I was doing, but that was my first kind of experience having to watch myself, like watch the self-tapes back. And my professor was very clear about this. He says, no, we're going to watch this in class in front of everybody because you all need to get so much better at this, because you are going to be doing this all the time. And you are going to be doing so many self-tapes, and you will have to watch yourself again because there will be subtle changes that you need to look for to send in the best tape possible. So that was my kind of crash course in watching myself on screen. Now I can do it pretty well, and it's I don't know, not really a vanity thing or anything, but I just think, oh, there I am. Oh, my hair looked good today. Or that really didn't work for me. I should do something different, But I feel a lot better about it now. But earlier, no.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I don't struggle with it, except that I'll see myself on screen and be like, oh my God, look how shiny my head is. Or, why is my tie crooked? Like I'll pick out the minutia, things. But like seeing the performance doesn't bother me. It's just like the things that I should have picked up on and didn't that make me nuts. Mm-hmm. What's something that you'd like to do in the future that you haven't done yet?
Ooh, I want to do, I guess I've kind of gotten a little bit of a taste of this, but I want to do film work. I want to do more of it. I want to know what it's like to work on the set of a commercial, a TV series, professional short film, feature film, something like that. Whatever it is, whatever kind of part, be it just a extra again, co-star, lead. I mean, I wish, but I want to be able to do that more. I think it's a very unique kind of acting, to do film acting, and of course, I'm never gonna stop doing theater. But I think that film is such an interesting opportunity to bring more of what you're good at to the screen, to the project, because with the close-up, you kind of don't have anywhere to hide. So it's really just, can you just be? And I think it's obviously different toolbox, but it is a great challenge, and I think a great test of your strength as an actor to be a character and be a person. And that's what I want to do more of in the future.
What advice would you give to aspiring actors who are just starting out in their careers?
Oh, it's going to be fine. That's what it's going to be fine.
You can't know that.
I mean, if you think about that sentence, I didn't say it's going to be phenomenal. I said it's going to be fine. Do your research.
It's not going to be phenomenal, people. Sorry.
Do your research. Whatever area you're in, there will be theater. Some places, obviously more than others, will have more opportunities, cities, wherever you are. Find out where the theaters are. If you're not in school and you're auditioning, don't be afraid to write emails to the artistic directors. The worst they can do is not respond, or they can pass you off to the like either community engagement people or the audition support, or just reach out to the audition support. Honestly, don't be afraid to cold email. People are nice in the theater community. I mean, I don't know what New York is like, but it's a really welcoming place, and it's a great opportunity to, through acting, connect with humanity and be a good person and care and all of that. That's in the industry, so you're going to be fine. Don't sit around waiting for something to happen, obviously, but put in the work. You will be fine.
I saw an interview with Tom Hanks recently, and they asked him that question, and he said there's only 3 things you need to keep in mind as an actor. Show up on time, which means 15 minutes early, know your lines, and bring something. Bring something to the part. Like, figure out what it is that you're going to bring that's going to make it yours, and bring that with you, and you'll be fine.
Advice. That's very good advice, yeah.
And he's been fine, so I guess it's probably working for him.
Yeah.
And if it can work for him, it can work for anybody.
That's true.
And finally, I already know the answer to this, but tell them all about what's next for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's next for me is I'm going to get my Master's of Fine Art in acting from Purdue University. So in about a month of when this is being recorded, I will be packing up and I will be moving to West Lafayette, Indiana. Very different place from where I've been before, but I'm very excited. And I'm hoping to use this opportunity to be as good of an actor as I can be and learn as much as I can. And I honestly can't wait.
Lafayette's gain is Boston's loss.
There we go. Oh, I'll probably be back at some point. So,
okay. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. I'll come back.
Isabelle, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And we'll see everybody next time.
Stephen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire podcast, and for that, thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Spotify. See you next week for another installment of I Saw You in That Thing I Saw You In.